Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Astrology with your friend Gretchen Heidel, full-time astrologer, life coach, Reiki master, and so much more. And I am here going over This Week in Astrology, a very important week here in January 19th, 2025. There's a lot going on this week in astrology. I know it's been a hot minute since I've done one of these videos, but wow, there's a lot. And I couldn't let this whole entire time go by without saying something. So welcome if you're just joining me for the first time ever. I appreciate you watching. Also, if you are a loyal follower and you're returning, welcome. I appreciate you all. It's an important week for many reasons. One of the reasons is we're starting Aquarius this season, and that is a really big, positive, wonderful thing. But also there's many other things going on too, astrologically, and it's not all pretty. We're also having the United States presidential inauguration, Martin Luther King Day as well. So there's a lot going on, and I wanted to kind of hop on here and sort of let you know, tune in, tap in, turn on to what is happening behind the scenes. I know I said this is the week of the 19th, January 19th, 2025, but I'm going to start just a little before that on Saturday the 18th, just to set up what is exactly happening in the astrological skies. I think this is very important because this sort of sets the tone for actually even the start of the president's term, and I think that this is an interesting sort of setup because, it's similar to the birthday in some ways. Saturday, January 18th, where Venus formed a tight conjunction with Saturn. They're both in Pisces right now. Venus and Saturn are in Pisces, and there's a lot going on with that. Venus and Saturn over this weekend, you might have felt it, are very sort of contentious when they're together. Yes, usually Venus is the goddess of love and beauty, and that is the case for sure, but we have Saturn there, which is like the Debbie Downer and kind of like the wet blanket. Saturn wants commitment, wants it to be firm, wants it to be serious, wants everything to matter, and Venus wants to hang out, have fun, have some romance and things like that. So there could have been a lot of contentious energies in relationships over the weekend, or even feeling cut off, or in some way maybe not feeling the love, feeling a little bit like you're being left out, in the dark in some way in your love life. All of those things are possible. Yes, we want seriousness, and yes, we want commitment, and there might have been some talks, going on behind the scenes. And they're still conjunct even now at the time of this broadcast, in the early part of this week, that we are experiencing that going on. So that's something that's kind of keeping in mind, that our love life right now, our romantic relations, but even relations where we love another, we might feel a little bit isolated or cut off, or just not feeling quite the love, really, because there's a lot going on right now, and I think a lot of people are very sort of stressed out, but they're also like in their own little bubble. Now, for sure, this is a time that if you're looking for that commitment, you're looking to not waste your time, you're wanting to make something firm and have that be a solid foundation. Yes, it could happen during this time. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes the other partner is hard to sort of track down when this is happening. There's always like a kind of an isolation, and even maybe a depression when Saturn is sort of activated. So we could be feeling just like a little cut off, like I said, and that kind of sets the stage for all the rest of this stuff to kind of come into play. The peak of it, the height of it, the pinnacle of it was on Saturday night at 8:26 p.m. Eastern time. That was on Saturday the 18th. We're going to be feeling it in the very beginning part of this week, and it's still technically conjunct now. It's in Pisces. There's a lot of energy in Pisces right now. We also just to catch you up, since I've last seen you guys, and some of you are followers of astrology and you maybe have heard this, and others maybe this might be new information. We also on 1/11/2025, January 11th, the north node of the moon shifted into Pisces. Now the north node and the south node of the moon are shifting, and they're in Pisces right now too, really there's a lot of Piscean energy going on behind the scenes. I am planning on doing a bigger video. I have pages and pages of notes prepared to do a more in-depth video about the nodes of the moon and how they're kind of interplaying and all of this and the change of the nodes, because that's very, very important, because that denotes the eclipses that are going to be taking place. That's a very important shift that we had recently, and I'm going to cover that more in depth, but I wanted to let you know that that's going on in Pisces too. North node of the moon, we have Venus in Pisces, we have Saturn in Pisces, we have Neptune in Pisces. There's a lot of Pisces energy happening, which can be interesting. I mean, it's not a bad sign. Of course, Pisces is a wonderful sign, but with Neptune and all of that going on in there, that could be a little bit of like illusions, delusions, confusion. What in the heck is happening? And that's why I'm making this video, because I have the feeling there's a lot of confusion going on right now. Some people are happy about this political stuff, and this is not a political broadcast. Just so you know, I'm not a political astrologer, but I do dabble and touch into it because I know that that's going on in the collective heartbeat that a lot of people are feeling. Some people are happy, some people are definitely not happy. And so depending on where you are in all of this, it can just feel confusing. There's a lot of changes taking place. There's a lot of shifting going on, and I want to get into all of that. First, I want to talk about wonderful Aquarius season. We shifted into the astrological sign of Aquarius on Sunday, the 19th, 2025 at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So earlier than that, if you were out on the West Coast, at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. And yay, we're in Aquarius season. So we're shifting out of that Capricorn energy. We've been in that Capricorn season for the last month or so, and now we're going to be in Aquarius season for another month. This is the very start of it. And Aquarius is very wonderful, futuristic, inventor, thinking about the future planning stuff. Innovative is another key word when we talk about Aquarius, And it's interesting because Martin Luther King Day falls around this time every year, and he was a Capricorn Aquarius. He had a lot of Aquarius in his chart, as well as he was technically a Capricorn, but he had a lot of Aquarius in his chart. And that's a really forward-thinking person, if you think about that type of energy. Aquarius is nicknamed humanitarian. I call Aquarius, the nickname I have for Aquarius is the change maker. So we're going to be seeing a lot of different things like that. The only sort of, I guess, bad news is that right when the sun goes into this astrological sign, it is going to form a conjunction with Pluto, because Pluto is now officially in Aquarius, but barely in Aquarius. Like it's just like doop right over the line. So anytime any planet shifts into Aquarius, it hits Pluto immediately, right? It's like right inside the front door, inside the coat closet. It's like, there's Pluto, And so it's like right through the entranceway, boom, you get hit by it. And the peak of it, the height of it, the pinnacle of it, Sun conjunct Pluto in Aquarius, is going to be taking place on Tuesday, the 21st at 7:29 a.m. Eastern time. But make no mistake, we've been feeling this since last weekend, going through the beginning part of this week. And wow, this one is not fun. This is a really, really contentious thing. And it's interesting because that's going to be in the chart of the inauguration. And the whole beginning of this week now, whenever Pluto gets activated, we're talking about violence and shootings and, protests and terrorism and, all those types of things. Oftentimes Pluto is very, very contentious and very there's a lot of prickly energy going on right now. So behind the scenes of the inauguration and all of this kind of stuff is this energy, and it's very volatile. I cannot underscore that enough. When you think of volatility, you think Pluto. Now, Pluto in Aquarius has been slightly, I've noticed anecdotally, slightly more peaceful than Pluto in Capricorn, but it still has been inciting different types of acts of violence and randomness and all those types of things. If you think about Pluto is nicknamed the Great Transformer, Phoenix Rising, all that kind of stuff, it's like the death card in tarot, although technically Pluto is really more associated with the Judgment card in tarot, the official meaning, but I think it's very much associated with that type of, kind of death, rebirth, transformation, all that stuff. If you think of Phoenix rising, something has to burn down all the way to the ground before it rises back up again. And wow, that can be really harsh. So there's a lot of change taking place. With Pluto being activated, that could set us up in Aquarius, that could set us up for some kind of a humanitarian type of crisis or something, because what happens is the pendulum goes one way and then the pendulum goes all the way over on the other way. So it's almost like we have to solve that problem. And it's not solved in the first 1 minute that Pluto's in Aquarius. It's going to take 22 years actually to figure all of that out. Pluto in Aquarius is a very long cycle. So with the sun highlighting, every time the sun goes into Aquarius now, it's going to be encountering or interacting with Pluto. Now we're going to be seeing this every year where there's like just a contentious, like kind of like hurdle there that we have to get over. Now, just to give you guys the heads up, because I know a lot of people who like to watch this broadcast sometimes like to take notes or write down dates or just keep it in mind. But just so you know, next Monday on January 27th, Mercury goes into Aquarius, and then lo and behold, on the day of the new moon, which is coming on January 29th, Mercury and Pluto are going to be forming a conjunction, right? So that's what's happening, is that it's every time it enters, it swipes by, and even every month when the moon enters there, it swipes by Pluto. So there's like always some kind of like a contentious thing around that. There's a lot of energy going on with Pluto. So we have to keep that in mind. And this is the time of a lot of volatility. This is not the time to have a friendly debate or to like interact with a person at the office, or there could be a lot of just contentious sort of energies. It's not the time in a lot of ways to like poke the bear, kick the hornet's nest. We don't want to do any of that. Even like careful driving and all that type of stuff, because it's just, things can just flare up very quickly, very rapidly. And there's more. I feel almost like a game show host this, only it's not fun stuff in some ways. We have, yes, so now we're in Aquarius season, and the focus of Aquarius is again to come back to the change maker. We want to make the world a better place, a lot of humanitarian effort and all those types of things, but we have all this kind of harshness in Aquarius right now with this Pluto thing. Then we have Mercury forming a sextile on Sunday with Saturn and with Venus. So we just had that Saturn-Venus conjunction on Saturday the 18th. Now Saturday on the 19th, we had a sextile with Mercury highlighting both of them. So we really do want to talk things through, and we have the gift of the gab right now and all that good stuff. But again, on Tuesday, as we get closer to that, we got that really hot, sticky day on Monday going into Tuesday, really. And that energy is going to be very, very active. Then I'm going to give you a preview right now. Thursday is going to be quite kind of crunchy too. So we have a lot of planetary things. Again, we just want to use a lot of caution around this. And this is very incendiary. This is very volatile. This is very energy that could really just incite a lot of anger and contention and things like that. So this is, again, not the time to have like a friendly debate with somebody, or we'll just have a little discussion with your partner, maybe save it for another time where the time is not quite as volatile. Again, having it be Aquarius season and the entrance of Aquarius season is not a bad thing. In fact, it's a great thing, but and we get very cerebral when we get into Aquarius, and there's more of like this intellectual. So we might want to even just like sort of bat around, sort of ideas and talk about things and be very cerebral in our head and think of these ideologies. But be careful, because we might, in our quest for knowledge and in our quest to be cerebral and in our heads, we might inadvertently kick the hornet's nest, like I said, with Pluto, and then that could be very Ouchie. Now on Monday, on the day of the inauguration itself, and also Martin Luther King Day, you will have the moon will be all day in the astrological sign of Libra, and the moon is going to be doing a lot of different interaction with Mercury and Mars, and the squaring Mercury and Mars. So there's a lot of, again, contentious energies behind the scenes. Yes, and as we get into Tuesday, same thing. Like I said, we have the sun forming the conjunction with Pluto, but we also have Chiron forming a square with Mercury. That's happening overnight from Monday night to Tuesday. The peak of it, the height of it, the pinnacle of it is 3:06 a.m. Eastern time, so just after midnight if you're out on Pacific time in the United States. But that's going on with Mercury in Capricorn forming a square with Chiron in Aries. And we're trying to heal through conversation, through words, but I think right now there's not, you just have to be careful. You might say something to somebody and their beliefs are different than yours or whatever. So perhaps using something like a journal, or talking to just a very close friend or a therapist or something, would be more cathartic than trying to sort of like hash this out with somebody that you maybe know, but you think and maybe you don't know them. And so that, just careful with social media posts, all that kind of stuff, because there's just a lot, it's crunchy. And then in the middle of all of this, same day, we have the fourth quarter lunar cycle, which is the second chance full moon. And that's going to be, again, on the 21st, Tuesday. The peak of that, the height of that, the pinnacle of that is 3:31 p.m. Eastern time, so 12:31 Pacific time p.m. It's going to be taking place at 2 degrees Scorpio. So here we have the fixed signs. We have the fixed sign of Aquarius. The sun in Aquarius is going to be forming a square with the moon in Scorpio, and that's a fixed sign, and that's very crunchy, very contentious there. Usually second chance full moon is we're continuing the work of the last full moon. The last full moon came on Monday, the 13th of January. That was in the astrological sign of Cancer. So you might have been feeling that last week, and over the weekend preceding that, the 11th and 12th, and then the 13th, it was the peak of it. So, but there's just a lot going on with that. So then now we have the second chance full moon, where we're still processing that. We're still purging, eliminating, getting rid of, but we might be having some trouble with releasing some things, because with this double energy being in a fixed modality, they are both stubborn. Fixed means stubborn. Fixed means fixed. Aquarius wants to be innovative. The ruler of Scorpio is Pluto, which is going to be active on the same day. So remember, Sun is going to form a conjunction with Pluto. So Aquarius likes to be innovative, likes to think, outside the box. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. So, think about, something that's outside the box, different, unique, individual. But with Pluto, we want to get to the heart of it and really, really sink into what is going on and have catharsis and, unravel some triggers and different things. Oh boy. So with having this moon in Scorpio, and then we have Pluto active on the same day, it can be, this is going to be a crunchy week. This whole week is going to be like this astrologically. So we're going to be having to kind of step over some landmines and sort of try to navigate all this energy. As we get into Thursday, oh my goodness, Thursday is just fully loaded. So what's happening on Thursday, and this is January 23rd. And by the way, I want to remind everybody, these astrological energies have a big bubble around them of sometimes, it depends on the type of transit. It could be a few days, it could be a week, it could be even more than that. It could be really, really months long, depending on the transit. The Sun conjunct Pluto thing is going to be a few days on either side of this conjunction. So when I said Tuesday, we're going to start feeling it from the weekend and then getting into the end of this week. But some of these energies are going on and on and on. So one of them is on Tuesday, the peak of it, the height of it, the pinnacle of it, that's when it's going to be the strongest maximum, okay? But as we walk toward it, it's like climbing a mountain. Remember, we're getting closer and closer, and it's getting heightened and heightened. It always feels more strong leading up to it. And then afterwards we come down the mountain. It doesn't mean we're at the bottom, right? You have to climb back down. So then we're going to still be feeling the remnants of it as we kind of process things and stuff. And something can catch us on the tail end for sure. I'm going to give you the breakdown of everything that is going to be happening on Thursday, but I want you to remember it's going to be active all this week. So we have a sextile between Mars, the god of war, okay, who is retrograde still in Cancer, is going to form a sextile with Uranus, who is in Taurus, and Uranus is retrograde right now too. Luckily, Uranus retrograde is going to be ending next week on Thursday the 30th. So that's great. Okay, we're going to be getting out of that retrograde. So Mars, the god of war, and Uranus with something unexpected, shocking, and out of nowhere are both going to be interacting with each other. And yes, it's going to be a sextile, which is considered to be a positive thing. However, I always say, who are the players? And these two are spicy, these players, Uranus and Mars. So Cancer and Taurus, you're going to be feeling this. And so that's going to be happening. And then what's going to happen to make it a little extra is Mercury is going to jump in there. And Mercury, remember, is still in Capricorn, until next Monday on the 27th, is going to oppose Mars on the same day, and then is going to form a positive trine with Uranus. So Mercury is getting involved, thinking, talking, communicating. This could very much feel, whenever we have Mercury and Uranus, this is the electrical stuff, electrical system of the body, migraine, headaches, palpitations, seizures, spasms, all those wonderful, lovely things. That will be activated. There could be earthquake activity or some kind of like shifting of tectonic plates. Sometimes you'll hear of a volcanic thing, whenever those two get activated. But this could very much feel almost like a Mercury retrograde. People might go, what the heck? Mercury retrograde. Mercury's not retrograde, but we're feeling that. And then to make matters even, we'll say extra spicy, we have Black Moon Lilith getting involved. She's in Libra. Black Moon Lilith is going to be square Mars, again, the god of war, Libra and Cancer. And then Black Moon Lilith is going to form a square with Mercury. Do you see how this is all kind of interconnected? So what I did here was I brought show and tell. We have this going on this week. These are the three patterns because all of these are so interconnected and so involved. So here we have Black Moon Lilith opposing Chiron. And then we have Mercury opposing Mars. This is creating a grand cross, okay? And these are all going to be in cardinal signs: Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. I know it's backwards on the camera, but I just want to give you guys. So that's grand crosses are considered to be hard. I'll just say that. Then we have a cradle. Okay, the cradles are a little bit more complicated. We got the sun opposing Mars. That happened, the peak of it was last week, but you can see it's still active right now. We have Mercury opposing Mars too. So see how they're both opposing Mars, god of war. Okay, this one is going to be interacting with Neptune, with Uranus. We have Mars, and then even here we have Mercury opposing Mars with Venus and Uranus. So Uranus is involved with both of them. This is a lot. And these are all cradles. Cradles are a mixed bag because there's opposition, which is hard. There's also some sextiles in there, and that can be positive. So cradles are considered to be a situation that is challenging but could turn out positive if there's positive energy that's lent to it. See, there's challenge in there though, but the grand cross is nothing but all challenge. And so that's hard because you got grand cross means that everybody's kind of fighting here. It's crisscross applesauce. These two are opposing each other. These two are opposing each other. And then these are all square each other. Squares in astrology are very challenging. Oppositions are challenging. So we have Grand Cross and all the cardinal signs. Cardinal signs are considered to be the leaders of the zodiac. There's a lot of leadership things going on right now in the world, if you haven't taken note. And then we have the cradles, which is something that kind of is challenging. And then maybe if we put some positive energy into it, it could work out in the end. But again, look at those players. I mean, you know, Uranus is in there. We got Neptune, which is like a little bit, you know, confusing. We got just all the players here. So a lot of this kind of energy is very, very sticky. And sometimes in astrology broadcasts, I can say to you all, this is going to be positive and this is going to be negative and this is going to be this and that. But it's such a mixed bag that it's hard to say for, you know, as a blanket statement, good or bad. You know, I mean, I get a lot of pressure as an astrologer to say this is good and this is bad. But it is what it is. And it's all somewhat complicated and it's all challenging. So the reason why I like doing these broadcasts and the reason why I feel almost like it's a public service announcement, is that I want you all to know that it's like, you're not alone. It's not in your head. These things are all going on. If you're feeling emotions, high, low, in between, you know, whatever, and you're struggling, this is all why this is happening. I mean, we're getting pulled from all of these different planets, and it's really not an easy sort of thing. It does get a little bit better news, if you want me to say if there's something positive or negative. There is a little bit of a better news over the weekend on the 25th, January 25th, 2025. We have Venus forming a trine with Mars. Venus, the goddess of love, Mars, the god of war, but also passion. That could be good. Trines are positive. The peak of it, the height of it, the pinnacle of it is 6:54 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. So that could be a good day for love and romance. Last weekend was a little harsh for love and romance. So this coming weekend might be a little bit. And again, we'll feel that as we get closer to the weekend. But man, as we get closer to that Thursday, really watch, because with Mars and Uranus, it looks like that's accidents. That could be explosions. That could be fires. That could be there's like all kinds of stuff going on with that. So we want to use caution. If you have to drive on Thursday, really be caution driving, caution doing all this kind of stuff, because it's just erratic. And like I said, it's like a hair trigger could be like a burst of anger coming out of nowhere. So we really want to watch this weekend. Mars being so active sometimes can produce headaches. It's in the sign of Cancer, so there could be like some stomach upset. The energy behind stomach ailments is fear and worry, like a lot of worry. So like if you're finding your stomach kind of getting, you know, jacked up because of, you know, maybe because of the news, or maybe because of, you know, something a relative said or something, it's a good idea to, you know, think about, you know, maybe having some ginger tea or chamomile tea or something that could like calm down things. But yeah, there's just a lot. And then on Sunday, the 26th, we have Mercury forming a sextile with Neptune. And then we have Venus forming a sextile with Uranus. Now, yes, I just said Mars was forming a sextile with Uranus, and that one's crunchy on Thursday. But Venus forming a sextile with Uranus kind of smooths it out, especially since there's going to be that Neptune transit on the same day. That could really be a little bit more soothing energy, you know, that's coming. We might end up wanting to take a nap. I'll just say that on that. You know, it might be a sleepy time. Anytime Neptune's activated, we can get a little sleepy. And boy, since we're like on this high wire of tension, especially on Thursday with Mercury, Mars, Uranus, that's a high wire of tension. It's like really, really potent. we might end up getting exhausted and then wanting to kind of, so as you move into the weekend of the 25th and 26th of January, it might be a good time to take a rest and just sort of, unwind and allow your nervous system to kind of regulate and calm down. It's good to remember that during these times, we can do what we can do, as an individual. We can, have our individual sort of way of being, whether we vote or we volunteer our time or whatever. But when it comes to collective, there's not much more we can do other than just lend our collective positivity to the collective energy. Now that's very important. I say just, but that's a very important thing to do. I mean, because if you think about it, it's like every one of us has a grain of sand that we can put into the bucket, and yes, it seems insignificant. A grain of sand seems insignificant, but after a while, it ends up being a beautiful sandcastle if we keep adding our energy. So light workers, empaths, people who are sensitive to these energies, whether I don't care what side you're on, if you're sensitive to these energies, the changing and the feeling of sort of not knowing what's coming or what's next, or feeling, sort of scared or anxious, or maybe you're excited. Uranus can go both ways. It could either be excited or anxious. And that tends to be because it's like very buzzy energy. We want to lend positivity to the situation, our positivity. And at the same time, we also want to allow ourselves, if you're not happy about these things, is to feel the grief, and have that moment of feeling that you're connecting to your feelings. You're not trying to just ignore your feelings, that you're trying to connect with your own personal feelings. And that's very important as well. So I hope that helps. I know I kind of quickly glossed over the start of Aquarius season, but I had so much to talk about and so many things that are going on. But again, if you are an Aquarius, being in Aquarius season, happy birthday. If you are a Gemini, Libra, you might be feeling activated because it's all the air signs get activated. Fire signs too loves the air. So, fire needs oxygen. So fire signs can get activated too, like Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. We could be feeling like a little buzz from this energy. It's a lot of cerebral energy when we get into Aquarius. And one thing I do know, and I have clients that have all different types of political associations and affiliations. One thing I hear from everybody, even though they disagree on how to do this, all of my people want the world to be a better place. Everybody's got their different idea of how that's going to happen. But at the end of the day, I do think that people really do want to have positivity and positive change. And just remember that if you're dealing with somebody in your life that has a different belief system than you, it's really, really important to make sure that you're remembering at the end of the day that most people do want the world to be a better place. If you think about Aquarius is the 11th house, the ruler of the 11th house, which is friendships, groups of people, your tribe, the people that you affiliate yourself with. It can even be politics and different types of organizations that, again, make the world a better place. And so remember that this is about trying to connect and trying to sort of come to some sort of equilibrium or solid ground. We have our work cut out for us, for sure. So I hope that helps. I'm going to pull some cards. And by the way, if you stayed with me through the broadcast, please like and share or comment below. What is your astrological sign? Where are you tuning in from? I love to hear that in the comments below. But I want to pull some cards. I felt like we needed some gentle energy going into this. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to say too, a great stone for Aquarius is fluorite. This is beautiful fluorite. It's a very calming, cooling, grounding sort of stone. even though it's not a dark stone, like I talk about, if you need protection and things like that, that's always good for grounding. But Aquarius is a wonderful sign, and definitely I always think fluorite when I think of Aquarius, because that really helps us to sort of pull in from some of these frequencies that are like really like there's a lot of scattered energy as Uranus and as far as Mercury and all that stuff, and we could be feeling a little bit frazzled. So bringing it back in, I think fluorite is a great stone to help us do that, and also to meditate or pray with during Aquarius season. So I'm going to pull some cards. What do we need to know about all this energy, the inauguration and all this planetary stuff and everything that's going on in the world right now? What do we need to know? Collectively, what are the angels, our spirit guides, our angels wanting us to know? Address our addictions. Woo, that can be a big one. Yes, and with Pluto and Black Moon Lilith activated in the same week, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of that. Whether that's drugs, alcohol, coffee, obsessively looking at our phone, sex, shopping, whatever, addressing our addictions, or even looking excessively at media. We want to look at that. We want to look at our addictions. What are we just hooked on? What do we can't feel like we can't live without? And the definition, very simply, of addiction is that we continue to do that behavior or take that substance or eat that food or whatever it may be, despite there being negative consequences. That's the definition of addiction. And so, you know, we're going to be doing a lot of shadow. There's a lot of shadow work. And if you're not familiar with Carl Jung and the shadow side of ourselves, of our psyche, we all have one. We all have one. We all have a shadow side. So we're going to be looking at that, and our shadow selves are going to be coming out maybe a little bit more, or we may have to deal with a loved one whose shadow self or shadow sides are coming out more. So that's important to know. All right, so what else do we need to know? I'm going to pull from a different deck here. I'm going to pull from the Archangel Gabriel's deck. What do we need to know? Okay, that's a good gratitude. Okay. Remember to have your blessings. What are your blessings? You attract more blessings when you appreciate your current blessings. Okay. So blessings are contagious. And having gratitude for what goes on, that's going on right in our lives. Remember that you might still have a roof over your head. You have a hot meal on your table, whatever thing it is, all your loved ones are safe and having a good whatever, they're safe. All of that stuff sometimes is not sometimes all the time is the most important stuff. So we have to remember to have gratitude and blessings. What is going right? It's going to be hard to identify what's going right with this darkness of Pluto and the darkness of Black Moon Lilith. That can be hard to see, and it really makes things very myopic and hard to like kind of look through. But where are the blessings? I'll pull one more card from Archangel Gabriel, because Gabriel, I think, is so needed right now. We need the Archangel Gabriel in our lives to help us to know what to do. And also remember to have confidence in your creations. Have confidence in your creations. Trust in the power of the universe's creativity, or God's energy, whichever you want to phrase it as, which is being manifested through you. So if you're being guided right now to go out, create something, have a piece of art, write a book, volunteer even, it could be anything like that. If you're being guided to do that, if you're getting those downloads, you're having dreams, you're having epiphanies, you're having like something that, you thought of and you just can't shake it. It keeps coming back and back. That is a download, and that is something that you really want to pay attention to. If you've been guided to do something like that, maybe it's something big like fostering a child, or I don't know, writing a friend a note card, handwritten note card, anything that you've been guided to do recently. Have confidence in that, because that's your angels, your spirit guides, or your guardians helping you to have focus, have a positive focus. this is a lot of energy, and some of this energy needs to move. It's dynamic, I mean, especially with Mars. Mars, is more of a dynamic, active. Mercury's pretty active too. I know a lot of Geminis and Virgos that are chronic exercisers, especially Geminis, tend to be very like wanting to move their body. Uranus energy is not a still neutral energy. So I would say definitely, be active. This might be a doingness, doing something that might give you joy, give somebody else in your life joy. Focus on the good, focus on the pleasures, and stay away from the things that are you might be stress eating too much Doritos or popcorn or something. I don't know, but it's something that you want to just, whatever gets out of balance. Pluto and Black Moon Lilith can both help us to identify that and really hone in on that, and that can be something that can be good but ouchy at the same time. Okay, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you all hanging in there with me, and I will keep you informed and updated. Like I said, I am going to be filming a video about the north node of the moon, so definitely subscribe, and namaste. Many blessings.